Sunday marked 5 years since George Floyd was murdered in broad daylight on a Minnesota street. The world witnessed as a bystander's video captured a Minneapolis police officer, Derek Chauvin, keep his knee pressed on the neck of a handcuffed Floyd as he unsuccessfully begged for his life. Chauvin was eventually found guilty by a jury of murder and also pled guilty to federal civil rights violations, leading to a term of more than 2 decades in prison. In the aftermath, leaders in that city, along with the Justice Department, acknowledged this tragedy didn't happen in a vacuum and began implementing policing reforms to prevent a repeat of a crime that shocked the national conscience. Well, last Wednesday, those federal efforts came to a screeching halt. The Trump administration announced that it would end its oversight of policing reforms in not only Minneapolis, but in Phoenix and Louisville as well. In all, these cities' systemic problems and abuses were uncovered that showed excessive and unlawful use of force, race-based policing, and a lack of officer accountability. In Trump's executive order, he talks of, quote, unleashing officers, which for many on the anniversary of Floyd's death sends the worst message possible. But again, this is on brand for Trump. Towards the end of the campaign last fall, you may remember, he called for, quote, one real rough, nasty, and violent day of police retaliation, essentially advocating the premise of the purge. And with regard to George Floyd, he called the police crackdown on rioters after his murder a, quote, beautiful thing to watch. His followers took his abandonment of the consent decree and they ran with it. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the lunatic congresswoman who has been elevated to a position of power under Trump, is now calling for a pardon for Chauvin, and right-wing media has seized on the premise. When asked, Trump was non-committal to the idea. Think about the message this sends, not just to communities of color, but to law enforcement. In what world is this a good idea? In what world does this encourage law and order that we can all be proud of? As I find myself saying all too often lately, you can't make this stuff up.